Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Friday, January 20th. So today we have the moon in Capricorn energy all day, giving us a little bit of a grounded approach to our to-do list, to our long-term goals and ambitions. We are a little bit on the edge of that negative narrative, that intensity, if you will, mostly because, of course, we are wrapping up Capricorn season as the sun moves into Aquarius season. Definitely check out the astro forecast for that in January's energy forecast and the 2023 energy forecast for the year. This is when we are going to shift. This is when the weight, the heaviness is going to get lighter and brighter. Thank goodness. We have a lot of planets very active, very much working for us with 12 different aspects here today, 9 of them involving the moon. You best believe that we are going to be put through it. Now, the moon in Capricorn is going to semi-square, which is a little bit of a tension point with Venus, who of course is in Aquarian energy already. Now, this particular energy and aspect is because the moon in Capricorn wants us to stick to the same old, because it's safe, it's secure, it's stable. Venus, who is very much trying to run through who and what makes her happy and trying to divvy up what needs to stay and what needs to go. She's in experimentation land in Aquarius energy. She wants to think outside of the box. She's not comfortable. She wants independence. She wants freedom, which means that there's a conflict between emotionally wanting to stay where it is that we're at and intuitively knowing that we got to kind of kick our ass in gear and get up and make some moves and go. Now, 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the sun will be moving into Aquarius energy. Again, please go ahead, check out that astro forecast. We are going to be on a observer type of mentality for the next month. Our quest, our thirst for knowledge and experience is definitely going to be pushing us into a little bit more bravery in order to kind of push ourselves outside of the comfort zone, think outside of the box, really take a good look at where it is that we feel blocked and restricted in our lives and set the tone on how it is that we're going to break free from some of those restrictions and actually create a new reality. It comes with a lot of aha moments, a lot of new inspirations, a lot of new perspectives. We are kind of adding some spice to the system, to the structure, to the foundation that we've kind of been growing upon. We're taking our realistic kind of dreams that we conjured up under Capricorn energy, and we are adding a little bit of pizzazz to them, dreaming a bigger dream, really pushing the boundaries on what it is that we believe to be possible. Now, the moon, 1 minute, okay, 1 minute after the sun moves into Aquarius energy, the moon in Capricorn that wants to kind of keep us in that Capricorn energy is going to come up to bump into, sit next to Mercury, who, as you may know, just went direct a couple of days ago, also in Capricorn. So what we get here is a true balance between our heart and our head, the moon, of course, being our heart space, Mercury being our head space. We're in alignment. We're on the same page. We're focused on the same things. And a lot of that is on our to-do list, what it is that we have to clean up and get rid of in order for us to be able to kind of start working actively, progressively towards our future. Again, focused on our long-term goals, our long-term dreams and visions. B, we're very much clicking, okay? We're clicking things together. We're snapping pieces together. Now, Mercury's only been direct for technically just a day. We are still needing a little bit of time to acclimatize and adjust and get our bearings. But something tells me that the weight that has been lifted by this, sun moving into Aquarius energy and freeing us from Capricorn season, we are really running with it. Our mental plane is working a lot more better, a lot clearer, a lot more efficient. And therefore, we're able to kind of make sense of some things. We're having really good ideas. And even more than that, if you're put in a position in order to actually speak clearly on what you've been kind of, biting your tongue on, you're going to be able to express yourself very matter-of-factly and very to the point. Now, just about 10 minutes later, which is just random as F, that all of this is happening in a very short amount of time, we are seeing the moon bump into Mars in not the most, I'm going to say, beneficial way. Comes with a little bit of tension. Now, Mars, who also is now direct, is actively trying to push us to make some moves, to take some action. And of course, the hesitancy here is that the moon in Capricorn, we need to think it through. We need to add logic. We need to add practicality. We need to have a system and a structure and a method and a strategy before we go off willy-nilly, just making moves and taking actions on new ideas, on new paths, on new directions and choice points. And this is a cluster F of energies because, Mars is revving to go. He was just waiting for Mercury to go direct, which happened 2 days ago, in order for him to kind of get up to speed and need to take action to move forward. But emotionally speaking, no, we just want to stick to what is old, tried, tested, and true right now. We just need to earth and ground ourselves out and really just kind of run through the thoughts and the plan and the strategy once again before we get comfortable enough to actually take action. The moon in Capricorn semi-squares Saturn, its ruler, who's in Aquarius energy. And this is a little bit of a tension point because, of course, the Aquarian energy that Saturn's sitting in wants us to think about the future. And yes, to a certain degree, the Capricorn energy that the moon is in wants to think about the future too. But we have far too many things, loose ends to tie up before we can go ahead and start actively pursuing the elements of the future, of the system, of the foundation, the bridge that we need to be building to get ourselves from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. We have a little bit of cleanup to do before that can happen. And of course, this creates a little bit of a cluster F because emotionally speaking, we have this huge weight, this huge role, this huge responsibility that we have to kind of complete and bring to a full circle. I'm going to say completion, story point, completion, before we can go ahead and start building the elements of our future. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there. The moon trines, which is a beautiful energy, with the North Node, the true node, who of course is in Taurus energy, trying to get us on the right path. Now, this is suggesting that we're making a little bit of progress on understanding what the next move would be. Now, we're not willing to take it right now, but we know what's going to be. We're sitting with it. We're thinking it. We're mulling it over, if you will. We have to feel safe and secure in our choices, in our path, in our direction, in our execution before we can go ahead and take it. But nonetheless, we're starting to piece things together on where it is that our first move is actually going to manifest. We're building ourselves up to actually take that particular action. The moon is going to bump into Neptune, who is in Pisces energy, its place of power. This is a beautiful interaction. What this is going to do for us is it's going to remind us that we have to move into la la land for just a sec to remind ourselves what our dream, what our vision, what our goal actually is. This is a beautiful energy because we are highly inspired. We're in touch with our intuition. Our higher self is screaming at us, and we're able to take some of these thoughts and ideas and epiphanies and dreams and visions. We're actually able to bring them into our physical body and make sense of them. Work on them, come up with a plan and strategize on how we're actually going to manifest and make them come to life. This is a beautiful thing. We're making huge progress here. But just as we make progress, those darker force energies wants to come out, wants to keep us in a state of paralysis. Why do we know this? Well, because the moon is about to jump into the boxing ring and fight it out, square off with Chiron, that wounded healer. So here is where we're kind of letting Negative Nancy and Betty the Bully come in and just kind of kick the crap out of the dreams that we just had. Instead of, the positive, confident side of our narrative really boosting us up and hyping us up to make these moves, suddenly our ego self comes in to crush our dreams and tell us all the reasons why we may as well not even bother, why we should just be content and build upon what it is that we already got going on in our lives and just kind of stick with what it is that we know. Well, that doesn't feel so good. Now, lucky for us, only about an hour later, we have the sun fresh in this Aquarian energy, mind you, right? This is the first aspect that the sun in Aquarius is making a beautiful, harmonious aspect with Chiron. Okay, so it's almost like the sun is shining a bright on Chiron and saying, okay, Mr. Wounded Healer, you've created enough wounds. You've created enough pain and trauma. You're supposed to give us the wisdom, the resources, the knowledge in order to fix our problems, to heal thyself. What do you got for us right now? So this kind of, I'm going to say, blazing light, if you will, is more on sitting in that negative narrative that the moon just squared off with Chiron. So all those fears, all that narrative, all that negativity, Betty the Bully, Negative Nancy, all the trash talk that we just told ourselves, the sun is shining a bright light on Chiron and saying, okay, flip it, make it into a positive narrative, make it into a more confident, supportive, encouraging narrative. Show me where it is that I need to heal this particular narrative, heal this particular wound. Where is the primary root cause of where this fluff is coming from? And from this, we bring it into the light, right? We bring it into our awareness. The minute that we are aware of the inner narrative, the minute that we identify where that narrative came from, likely due to our childhood conditioning, the minute we're able to override it. The sun in Aquarius energy is here to push the boundaries of our comfortability, to break us free of the restrictions that are holding us back in life. And the wounds that we are constantly bringing forth in our ego self in order to justify us not making moves and moving forward and not evolving, those wounds need to be examined, and we need to overwrite them quick, fast. We are going to see an accelerated situation take place now that we are in this Aquarian energy, because again, we're also in the new moon window. Yes, we're in the dark phase of the moon. So this change, this transition is going to be a bumpy one, but it's accelerating things in the most positive light possible. The moon bumps into Mars, this time in a much better way. And this way, because again, the sun is now in Aquarius energy, showing us the big vision, showing us the dream, showing us where it is that we need to be independent and rebel against the old narratives, the old constructs, the old restrictions. So the moon, even though still in Capricorn energy right now, is making a positive interaction with Mars, which gets us hyped up. We are damn well determined that we going to do what we got to do to clean up the mess of the here and now so that we can get started on planning for the future. We are aggressive in our ideas. We are highly motivated. We are very determined. Keep in mind, Capricorn energy is the goat. You ever see those, goats just hanging on to the side of those cliffs? Like on like the very smallest little piece of rock hanging outside of these cliffs? Like they're known for their perseverance. They do not sway, they do not budge once they align with the path. And this is very much the energy that we are diving into. The moon is going to trine, which is a beautiful energy, with Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus energy, preparing to go direct on the 22nd, freeing us up for about a 3-month window where there are no planets in a retrograde, thank goodness. This is another reason of why we're going to see an accelerated progress, productivity, accelerated window of time and events actually speed up for us. But the moon goes ahead and trines Mr. Uranus. What does Mr. Uranus do? Well, he's retrograde in Taurus, trying to illuminate for us where it is that we're too caught up in our physical realms, too attached to routines, to people, to titles, to possessions, and where those attachments are actually preventing an energy blockage from us moving on to our fullest potential. So this trine is a good energy. It's emotionally speaking, opening us up to seeing where it is that we're creating the blocks for ourselves, understanding that our long-term goals, dreams, and visions and ambitions right now are the center of our attention, our awareness, and our focus. And we are willing to do whatever we have to do to override these systems, this program, to free us up to actually change, to transform, to adapt to the changes a lot more easily than what we would have even a week ago. To make matters even more interesting, we have Mercury, who is fresh out of the retrograde in Capricorn energy, interacting with Mars, who is fresh out of his retrograde in Gemini energy. So we had this particular interaction take place back on the 17th, but Mercury was still retrograde at that time. Now, today, they are kind of, doing the same interaction, like coming back to the table to have the same discussion. And let me just say that Mercury's still not up to speed, okay? He just woke up. He still needs some time to catch up on what has all taken place. Mars has had a little bit more time to be awake to get his bearings. He's rearing to go. He just wants to push the envelope and take action and move forward and execute whatever plan needs to be executed in order to make these ideas come to life. But the Capricorn energy that Mercury's still sitting in isn't as eager to move as fast as Mars would like. So what happens here is we're maybe misjudging the next step forward. We're misjudging, miscalculating, overestimating, underestimating what it is that we actually have to pour our time, energy, and attention into. There's almost like a realization at this point that there's a huge disconnect between what we want to do and what we need to do. And there's a huge disconnect between what we say and what we think. There's a huge disconnect on what we want to take action on and what we're actually able to take action on. We're still not on the same page. Now, granted, Mercury and Mars both went direct at 8 degrees, 8 minutes, one of Gemini, one of Capricorn energy, which is a beautiful energy for us to be able to bring new ideas to life. However, they're not at the same degree right now. Mercury has a little bit of catching up to do, if you will, and needs a lot more clarity before we're going to be able to actually feel confident enough to take action on some of the ideas and inspirations that Mars is hot to trot and ready to go out in life and actually pursue.